This is Jay Michaels, and here we are at Boston Sci-Fi. This is Boston Sci-Fi 47. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, we are approaching a half a century of providing the finest in genre motion pictures to a joyous and happy aficionado-filled audience. Science fiction has grown over the decades. It's no longer about the man in the rubber mask on planet Zoran. It's so much more and so much deeper. The parables that you're going to hear that are within these fantastical films is really breathtaking. Let's get started. Gabriel, tell us all about your movie. Nice to meet you. What's going on?
Nice to meet you too. Hello, I'm Gabriel Verdugo Soto. I'm from Chile. I made a feature film called Elulu. I did it alone. So I directed, animated, I write the movie, I did the music, everything else. It took me like almost 8 years to make. And it's a story about a man that comes back to his childhood home and to grieve his mom. And in the end, there are some caterpillars that have superpowers in the house. So it deals with how the man is going to overcome his grief, and eventually, he makes this theory about science. Like he has a super string theory about where his mom went, and all that. So I know.
You're making a little statement about heaven or the great beyond with that, and I think the real big thing is, and I have a great fear of bugs. So when you said caterpillars with superpowers, that's it. Now I'm afraid of your movie. I have to watch your movie with that on.
At least in the design part, I think it's very friendly. Like it's almost like a cartoon movie. But the style in which the movie is narrated is very serious. So I'll say it's for preteens, like 11, 12 and up, and everyone else that can enjoy that type of movie. And I think for example, I think it's very serious. Like it's an emotional journey overall. Like it's more like a drama, and the characters don't speak. So it's like the audience need to, I mean, it's told from the perspective of the character that doesn't know what's going on. So hopefully the audience,
they don't speak. So this is all just visual, if you will.
And audio. I mean,
oh yeah, obviously, but
no, but I mean, like it's hopefully it will draw your attention, like for the atmosphere that it evokes, for the feelings that it evokes. So it's for not kids. They will get very bored.
Oh, I get it. I get it completely. Ironically, that's great for two levels. Number one, an 11-year-old now, an 11-year-old when I was 11 is a different universe. So something tells me those 11-year-olds are going to tell me about the movie.
The reviews I've heard, they're all different. Like everyone in the audience gets their I mean, because it depends a lot on of what gets your attention. Obviously, I encompass a story and everything makes sense in that way, but you can take a little bit from a little bit from that and make your own.
That's how a good movie should be. If everyone comes out singing the same song, then okay, that's nice, but don't ask me about the movie in a week. I'll forget about it. But the fact that we can interpret, that's what it's all about. Yeah. Good for you. Good for you. Congratulations on being part of this festival. And I look forward. It's funny the way it's a little of this. Well, it's not that. Well, it's for this. Okay, good. Now I get to sit and watch it and figure it out for myself. Thank you.
Yeah, that's the idea.
I see Chris Donaldson in there, but I see two people. That's interesting.
They're both named Chris Donaldson.
No, my name is Illian Shirless, and this is my partner, Chris Donaldson, and we worked on the film together.
I directed it and he produced it, and we both co-wrote it. So
Unless it's called It, there's no name for it. What's the name of the
Maslow
movie?
is the film, yeah. So yeah, for Maslow, it actually started as sort of a collaborative writing project that we were doing together with several other people. We had probably 4 different people that helped write the project. I came up with the original idea for it, and it's a science fiction film. It's obviously for the festival. It's set a little bit in the future, and it revolves around artificial intelligence. It's about a woman who goes to a cabin as a writer's retreat and finds this man there named Maslow, who's a AI, and this process of him helping her more and more inside of her life and her becoming dependent on him, and then kind of, I don't want to give too much away, but just how that turns out.
And ultimately even starts to write for her.
Yeah.
And her struggle with sort of accepting that and giving into that, because this AI is ultimately a better writer than she is.
Yeah. And a lot of people have compared it. I've never actually watched this film, but even from the first drafts of the script, people were saying that it's has a vibe very similar to Misery, if people have seen that. I still haven't watched it because I'm kind of afraid of seeing it and feeling like I ripped it off, but
You didn't just saying AI. I've seen Misery many times. Just saying AI. No, you didn't rip off Misery.
yeah, exactly. Good.
Yeah.
The word
It's
rip
always
off
a
has a
fear
lot
as
of
a filmmaker that you're going to watch some film, it's going to be exactly like your film. You're like, oh crap, what did I do?
For sure.
This is reminiscent of a Twilight Zone called I Sing the Body Electric. This is reminiscent of a Black Mirror episode about grief and the loss of someone and how an AI can replace them. There's so many parables of this. And you're hitting a very chilling one, because we talk about and computers nowadays, we can't live without them. And during this pandemic, what would we be if we didn't have a box to watch Netflix on? So you're giving that parable about what the world would be like without computers, if you will. And then you're giving the chilling thought, okay, now that we have them and then we're making them so that we actually love them, what happens when they get better than us?
Yeah.
If anything, you're the prequel to Terminator. So that's really interesting. That's really interesting.
And the title is also taken from Maslow's hierarchy of needs, like determining what we really want as humans.
Yeah.
And also computers then deciding what you really want, and where's that tension, and where do they start to differ?
Yeah. In the very first draft of the script, it was a much more closer correlation, which I'm kind of happy we moved away from it a little bit, but it was sort of watching Maslow take away these things from her, sort of one need in the hierarchy at a time, which is sort of how much control are you giving computers inside of your life? And as you're giving them control, are you getting rid of the basic things that actually make you happy?
You have done the horror movie equivalent, if I will say this, of those little quizzes we see all the time on Facebook and in magazines and whatever else. Take this quiz to see if you're an excellent lover. Take this quiz to see what kind of diet works for you. And at the end, it always says, your score is this, and you are this, so you should do this, and you should do that. Now, we laugh at it, but what happens when computers actually say, okay, this is what you need to do?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Something tells me everyone's going to smile, and at one point in your movie, the smiles are going to wipe right off their faces. Wow. Good for
We
you.
hope so.
Yeah, there you go. Good for you. Looking forward to it. I love movies where, okay, it's just a phone. Oh, yeah. So I love films like that. Looking forward to that. Good luck with you. Congratulations on
And
being.
this is a short film, by the way, so this isn't a feature like Gabriel's, but yeah, this is a short film about 20 to 23 minutes long.
It's amazing that our attention spans are such that we have to say, oh, it's short. You can watch it. It's only 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all we can afford. We would have loved to have shot a feature.
Yeah.
I have 2 other filmmakers who at one point they led with saying, hi, it's a 7-minute film. Okay, great. I can boil an egg while watching your movie. Now, come on, tell me about the movie. I don't care what length it is. If it's brilliant, and I know it is, then that's all it needs. Speaking of brilliant, Regina, tell us about your film.
Hi, Jay. It's so nice to meet you. Thanks for hosting and leading the conversation today. It's nice to meet all the other filmmakers. Y también mucho gusto, Gabriel. It's nice to meet you. So I am the director and producer of Recombined, which is a 6-minute proof of concept written by Karen Sandler and adapted from the world of her Tankborn trilogy. These are YA sci-fi novels that basically explore a futuristic society that has established a caste system on planet Loka. It's basically maintained on the backs of genetically engineered humans that are born in gen tanks. And Jen Kayla 6982 is a central protagonist through the 3 books. So this is my proof of concept, and we're currently taking it around to different studios, and we're pitching it to become a television series. That's our main focus and the goal of Recombine. The main theme essentially addresses what it means to be human as gens rise up in a society that's become segregated on the basis of socioeconomic status and the color of your skin and the way that you were born. So that's really it in a log line. I'd say it's unleashing an uprising against trueborn enforcers amidst destruction of a sacred union and the death of her best friend.
If one wants to sit and with a glass of wine and delve over that movie, they can talk. There's religious discussions that can be in there. There's evolutionary discussions that can be in there. There's spiritual discussions. There's biological discussions. Yours is a short film?
It is a short film. It's about almost 7 minutes, but it's packed, I gotta say. It's the fastest 7 minutes. You'll sit there, you're like, how did she get all of that in there? And I wonder myself, but we really wanted to try to get a slice of what this world is and how we can move things forward. And telling the story and you know, whetting people's appetite for a future series of this.
All of you highfalutin directors and writers and producers out there who make rom-coms and all of these films, you go ahead, you make a parallel about evolution, about birth and death, about naturalism, about religion, about everything, and do it in 7 minutes. I dare you.
Go check it out. You'll find out yourself.
Wow. Good for you. Much luck with this. Congratulations just on being able to pack 7 minutes of so much thought. And something tells me it's going to be much longer than 7 minutes that people discuss this film. And proof of concept, I think it's great. And I think we all need to take notes when we hear things like this, because something tells me we're going to be talking again when you tell me about the feature length or the television series or something like that. Good luck to you. Wow.
Thank you so much. Nice
7 minutes. 7 minutes. I have to scratch my head when I hear things like that. I told you. Lauren Dunn.
Hey there. I'm Lauren Dunn. I am the director, co-writer, producer of Pew Pew Pew. And our movie is about a group of essentially Star Trek and Star Wars cosplayers who get into a blaster battle in Applebee's, in a nutshell. We've made up our own universes called Infinite Voyage and Galactic Rebellion. But we did actually shoot the movie in an Applebee's here in New York City. So yeah,
Where in New York City?
In East Harlem. Yeah, and actually, in terms of like trivia, part of why we picked that was because it doesn't look like it's in New York City. Our movie, we decided would be set in Hartford, Connecticut. My co-writer, Matt, is from Connecticut. And I actually grew up in the Boston area. I grew up in Needham, so I'm really excited to be included in the festival. And yeah, we wanted it to be in a smaller city. So it's very much a movie about fandom. And the way we approached it was we thought, like, how would JJ, they're going into this blaster battle, and this is like the highlight of the con for them. And we shot it in a sort of JJ Abrams style, because we realized this is not a sketch. It's not a joke about pew, pew, pew. So the whole thing is done as real as we can. They have prop weapons, of course, and then they have to make the sound effects. That's the one thing that's missing. And we hope what happens as you get into it is it's ridiculous to start off, but eventually you get caught up in the way that they do. And the big part of what's underlying it thematically is about friendship, and people coming together, friends who have been apart coming back together. And big question to me also, I think the stereotype of fans is that we're detached from reality somehow, which is not the case. And that's part of what we wanted to play around with. And I also think as somebody who's making movies, as an actor myself, like, what's going on there? Am I trying to escape reality? And I'll say that's a little bit what we were trying to explore. And the ultimate conclusion I've reached is that we absolutely need these things in order to process reality. So these are people who are working through these things in this fantastical way where ultimately nobody gets hurt, but they're very difficult things that they're able to deal with because they have this active fantasy life.
I really appreciate hearing you say that. Science fiction and horror and fantasy does a great service, and I'm not even sure how many of us realize that we're doing this service. People tend to look the other way. My wife is an animal rights activist, and she puts on her Facebook all the time about what's happening to dogs and cats and endangered species. And so many people don't click like, and so many people turn away because they just can't absorb it. We as a culture do that. You know, we see these abominations out there, and we say, oh, it's not happening here. And we're able to turn away, and it's not on our screen, so that's it. Let's watch something fun as opposed to the tragedies going on in the world. Let's watch a science fiction show. So to know that we're sort of sneaking these messages into people. They think they're watching robots battling on another planet. No, they're not. They're seeing racial injustice. They're seeing friendship. They're seeing camaraderie. They're seeing response to this pandemic, response to government problems, to whatever. But okay, it happens to be robots and ghosts. Look at that. It's the whole basis of the Twilight Zone. So you are following in some great footsteps. I'm a fanboy from the word go. So I'm going to watch this and I'm going to weep because I see this. And the reason I asked about an Applebee's, there's an Applebee's in New York City that I know of. And I thought, did you film there? I love your title, Pew, Pew, Pew. And what's great is that's the thing that made us fans in the first place. We can put on rubber ears, carry the plastic gun and go. I remember being a fan of these when I was 12 and 13 and whatever, and being able to sit there and emulate the spaceship landed. Dun, dun, dun. My first joy was emulating the Universal Pictures horror movie music. Da, 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 da. So to have a whole movie with that in it, can't wait. I'm going to put on my Doctor Who costume and I'm going to sit and I'm going to watch your film. Thank you so much. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Fraser Pemberton. Oh, that's a great name. That's a literary name. Congratulations to your parents. That's a great name. Tell us about your movie.
Well, yeah, I'm Fraser and I'm the director of All We Have Is Time. And I don't know if you are all aware of, in Melbourne, in Australia, we were probably in one of the longest lockdowns once you combine them all together in the world. So obviously I had a lot of time to write and I guess ruminate on the concept of time. And, you know, we sort of felt, and I'm sure we all experienced it, that, you know, days were blending together. Things were sort of combining, probably not in a good way. And so I sort of decided to write a movie that was, in essence, about time. And do you have the opportunity, or if you had the opportunity to change the mistakes of your past, what would you do? And so naturally I set this movie in space, probably the easiest place to put it. And it covers 3 time periods of one man's life, an astronaut. And yeah, he reaches a temporal anomaly in the depths of space. And it forces him to question everything, as all good science fiction movies do.
There's a time travel movie from another filmmaker that talks about the time traveler's paradox, about if you can go back 1 minute in time and kill yourself, do you ever really exist, or something like that. And so time, you know, we think of H.G. Wells' Time Machine, and we think of Doctor Who, and we think of this whimsical way of time, but you're really delving into something very deep. You're treading upon really interesting waters. Would we change our lives if we could? And what would happen if we did? You know, the joys of when we were 50, would they disappear if we changed the mistakes when we're 30? So you're making a huge statement with this. That is great. And of course, it comes out of the pandemic. It comes out of the fact you're sitting there with nothing but time. What happens if you can take all of this time that you're just sitting and use it for some good? So, wow. Now you're no longer in lockdown, I gather?
Yes, no, we are free as of December again, but yeah, no, I think in Australia they took it incredibly seriously. Melbourne as well was really hard hit last year, but we managed to shoot this in, it would have been February in 2021, in between two lockdowns. That we had a 2-week break and we managed to sneak it in, which was good. But yeah, that's, you know, a huge difficulty trying to get something of this scale, having to build an entire spaceship set and have it in a big green screen studio, you know, not knowing if it's going to get shut down every day. But yeah, we're all very proud down here that we managed to make it, quite frankly.
Congratulate you, and I congratulate all of you on this. This was a time period where most people bought 6 months of potato chips and watched Tiger King. and what you said, okay, we had a 2-week non-lockdown. Most people would have just said, okay, great, I'll go to Applebee's and have a lightsaber fight there in Applebee's. No, what you did was say, make a film. And so I congratulate you all on your imaginations. I congratulate you all on putting it down for us to see and then handing it to us in a film festival. Really wonderful, really remarkable. I look forward to all of these time travel movies, and I look forward to yours for the messages that it's going to evoke within all of us. Joanny, is it pronounced Joanny or Johanny?
Joanny, yeah, you're pretty good, pretty good. Usually people don't get it right.
Well, I came close. I got it on the second
Really
try, so that's a start. Tell us about your film.
I'm Joanny. I directed Rachel Don't Run, which is a short film about a girl who works in a AI companionship service company, and she's a customer support agent. And one night, she decides to bypass the system to actually impersonate one of the artificial dream girl and talk directly with a customer. So that's about connection and privacy, AI, obviously, customer support, work, and mutual feelings that humans can share that robots might not be able to share. So that's broadly, that's what it's about.
Yeah, sure. That's what we're all figuring out, but you're twice as brilliant. I have the expression, are you a genius by accident or on purpose? And yours is also giving us the message. She steps into an AI's persona.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, the idea came as a joke, actually, to begin with. Was like, we're always talking about, you know, how AI is replacing humans, and more and more, like, you don't even realize you're talking to an AI every now and then on the phone. So we were talking about what it would be like for a human to try to pretend to be an AI. So that's how it started, and obviously it evolved into more of a fleshed out story with
that's your take on it, which means you're accidentally brilliant, because what you're also doing is giving us this massive parable about how we are trying to become our own avatars, how people talking about the psychological damage that social media does to us by we look at the best of someone's world. This is the photograph, this is the touched up reality that they hand us, and we think it's their actual world, and then we critique ourselves to the point sometimes of suicide because we do not live up to someone else's AI. And so here's someone who's trying to live up to an AI. Boom, boom. Really impressive thought pattern, really impressive premise. Really exciting idea. Something tells me it's very funny. Something tells me there's humor within this.
It's a comedy to begin with. I guess.
There you go.
It started as a comedy. Let's put it that way.
Well, then I'm saying to you what I've said to the Coen brothers up there in the screen about their movie. Something tells me that the smile on everyone's face is going to be wiped off quickly somewhere.
Yeah, you know, usually things don't go exactly as planned. So in this case, it doesn't. So you'll have to watch to see what happens. But yeah, you're correct.
Good. I love that in all genre films, there's always that moment. Everything was utopian until that night. So I can't wait for that. Good for you. Looking forward to that. Bravo. And now I'm going to get comfortable. I'm going to lean back in my chair. Maybe I'll have another shot of coffee. There we go. Oh, I'm done with that. Uh-oh, I hope my energy can match who I'm about to introduce. Professor Bob White. Tell us, oh mighty wizard, what you have brought us this year as I kneel before you and pay homage to you.
Oh, Jay, you're crazy. I want you to find a parable in my work as a parabola, perhaps. Greetings to all of you fantastic filmmakers. They saved the worst for last. Don't let him kid you. My movie is called The Bumbling Gentleman in Frog Wheat. And it is about the forces of good and the forces of evil. The forces of good are an advanced civilization of very pretty women who inhabit a aquatic world, and the forces of evil are dirty old men. And the bumbling gentleman, an avatar for myself, this is a 9,000-minute movie. It's like, in any event, he has long white beard and looks like this. In any event, is an intergalactic detective, sort of, and travels to these worlds with the assistance of his companion, the fabulous Mr. Toast. So Toast and the bumbling gentleman are called upon. Nobody needs their help, but they're kind of called upon to check the things out. What's with these crazy old men who ride giant pointy teeth, ugly fish and terrorize and stuff? And they're so crazy, they ride on the outside of their spaceships when they visit their planet. You know, maybe they have big lungs or something, I'm not sure. The bumbling gentleman must battle skeletons that come to life, Ray Harryhausen, and they have swords, and the bumbling gentleman fights with a giant banana, the banana hammer. The children sit back and it's a short, it's 13 seconds long. It's so compressed. I mean, I congratulate those who can tell us this really quickly. So inspired, perhaps the gentleman is perhaps inspired a little bit by Basil Fawlty Towers. I will now let you ask a question.
You're quite brilliant, and you dared me, and you made it really easy for me, because water implies creativity. When you talk spiritual and when you talk pagan, water implies creativity. We are entering another paradigm in this world. We're leaving the male patriarchy and going to the female patriarchy, female matriarchy. Thank you. I should learn English. And you're talking about these old earthy men. Earth implies stodginess, implies the past. And even toast, bread, earth again, but it's burnt. So we can either, if it's as a happy outlook, it's the fact that fire must come into this, or it's the sad outlook, of burning away, of going to ashes. So yours seems to be a quick tale of the next generation, of the coming of Aquarius. You're talking about the new paradigm in the world. And of course, Fawlty Towers, of course, the old British. So we're even looking at the colonialistic ways disappearing. Dude, you're too brilliant
to write my next movie. Oh, that's so beautiful.
you are too brilliant a person to just say, oh, my movie is just about this old man who travels on a fish.
Are you mocking me? Are you mocking me?
I am slightly, yes, I am. And also fish has a religious connotation. It is a symbol of religion. So again, you're talking about so many things disappearing and the new world coming in. So for all your humor, for all your detective story, for all you think it's this fun thing, I have a feeling people, as usual, are going to walk away from a Bob White film and say, wow, did you know? Did you understand? Did you realize? And it can be taught at university.
I must tell you that we create. Our spirit calls us to create. We create the things we need. I'm not ever really sure why I go back to the innocence and experience and good and evil. I was touched by, there's a line in Citizen Kane, for you children, it's an old movie, kind of a good one, where Joseph Cotton is telling about a memory, and he says, maybe you remember it. He says, one morning I was on the ferry and I looked across and I saw a pretty girl dressed in white with a white parasol. And I saw her for about 1 second, but not a month goes by when I don't think of her. And it's like, that's innocence.
Whole movie, Citizen Kane's whole movie is about the loss of innocence, the loss of Charles Foster Kane's innocence, hence Rosebud. So of course, Joseph Cotton saw innocence. He saw innocence walking away for only a second, never saw it again, but will always remember innocence. So of course, and yours are all that way. You gravitate toward that. Of course, that piece shocked you enough that made you say, okay, I have to pursue innocence. I have to pursue good and evil. I have to pursue the future for as long as I'm able. I congratulate you, as I have every year. How many years have you been with the festival?
I've been in the festival for 4 years. I've been watching it for 47. I'm a very old man. When I was 11, they were inventing movies.
I refuse.
Well,
Maybe chronologically, but let's just say, when I'm your age, all I wanted to do was be your age. So something tells me you're ahead of the game, even on that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much. This has been wonderful, as usual. Again, we have these amazing parables. We have these amazing stories, pardon the pun, that are going out there. Ladies and gentlemen, Boston Sci-Fi, bostonsci-fi.com. Real simple to remember. Go to bostonsci-fi.com. There's tickets available. There's lists of all the movies that you're going to see. There's a cosplay contest. If you're there live, there are events, there are parties, there's screenings, there's everything. And if you go in virtual, there's a million things for you to just sit back and absorb and enjoy straight from the computer screen. I congratulate you all on your films, and thank you so much for being part of this. And I look forward to hearing more. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jay.
My
Thank you
pleasure.
so much.
Thank you.